I think the biggest takeaway is the camaraderie that's here. It's the no bullshit, no pulling punches because they care. One thing I've learned about people in life is if they don't give you correct feedback, like if you're screwing something up and they don't say anything, they don't care about you. But if someone will actually say, look, dude, I care about you so much, I'm going to say the hard thing, the thing that could offend you if you take offense. But if you don't take offense and you do listen and you take action, shit's going to change.
No, man, I love that. And for everyone that's watching, if you don't know, this channel is all about the journey to the top 1%. That's what Uncaged is about. And for us, our approach is how do you get to the top 1%? It's by becoming 1% better daily. And so that's what this channel is all about. That's why I love having guys like Wiley on the calls, just so we can get real life experiences from real life people and just see what kind of lessons we can learn from each other. So, without further ado, Wiley, why don't you tell them who you are, what you do, bro? Let's get into this.
My name is Wiley. I like the moniker the Mind Ninja. I do NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. And I'm relaunching a company that I started a little bit ago called Skip Therapy. And the whole objective with Skip Therapy is there are people who want to go and talk about their shit and not get results. Just talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Or there are people who just say, you know what, I need a result. Let's just get it done. What do we got to do? And we cut through all the bull crap and just say, all right, this is what you need to learn to let go of the past baggage. I posted today my favorite quote. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. And the thing about it is every time we regress to that unhappiness of the childhood, what if we change the perception of it? The whole, we'll laugh about this later. Well, what if later was now?
No, I like that perspective. And it's funny because I wanted to bring something back that we had talked about originally, and that's just talking about the camaraderie of the group, but also like what type of quality of content the group brings the members themselves, which is really that no bullshit approach. And there's not a bunch of yes men, right? Like, unfortunately, what we have seen on this side of the table is men are searching for a group, a community, an ecosystem of people that they can grow with and not be succumb to just being an average of. And so what I mean by that is, in Uncaged, we believe in the law of averages, which is the better that we all are individually, the better we will be collectively, and the better that we all are collectively, the better we will be individually. And so what's cool about that is we're doing life together with each other. And a part of that, to your point, is being able to be told that something that from a previous life or maybe a previous group of friends that you've been around would cause you to become defensive, right? And we kind of use that word offensive, defensive, right? And so once you start to kind of understand and conceptualize what those triggers, going back to your childhood or whatever the case is, like there's something that triggers you that's like, oh man, I don't like that. I don't like being told what I need to hear. I only want to be told what I want to hear. Whereas that's not this group, right? It's not a bunch of yes men. And so let's just like kind of talk about that for a moment. Like what does it do for you when you start to surround yourself with people that aren't afraid to hurt your feelings? And the thing with hurting feelings is it's not antagonistic, it's not intentional, but we've gone our whole lives without being conditioned to being told things that are important to us. Because what's really cool about the group, especially some of the guys that are on a just completely different trajectory. They're successful. They've amassed wealth. And now they're at a point where they don't really need anything from us. So if they open their mouth, it's because they care, right? So what's some of your experiences been about like the value of just having someone that's not scared to hold back what they truly feel in hopes that you actually hear it and understand their heart and soul and the way that they mean it?
First, I want to just make a thing that the only one who gets to be offended is your choice. Nobody can make you feel anything. And that's if you come into it with a nobody can offend me because I choose not to be offended by that, you can then have that growth spirit and hear the actual message. Because nothing is made with offense. The thing that's to me that hurts the most is my realization that I didn't take care of shit the way I should have taken care of it. So it's more embarrassment than hurt,
Mm.
right? Because when someone shows you something, it's like, dude, I'm 49 years old this year. I should know better. I didn't do it, but I should fucking know better. And that's where it hits. It's that damn. But then I start to realize one of the things that I love with NLP is the whole thought there's no such thing as failure, it's only feedback. And if I didn't know what I didn't know, I can't really blame myself for not knowing that because someone sees something in a totally different way. I mean, we've got like the jigsaw who sees things way different than anybody else. I mean, he talks about being on the spectrum, and he is just a guru and a driven personality that will tell you straight with no thought to how you're going to receive it. It's just like, here's information, take it how you will.
Yeah,
And
no,
having someone like that, it's just
no, I agree with you. And so if we were to take someone like the Stoller, to your point, dude's got Asperger's on the spectrum,
right,
one dude's doing $100 million a year, like one of the most successful people that I know personally, and that also happens to be in the group. But the cool thing about him is he was actually someone that I was referencing, like he doesn't have anything to offer us. He doesn't have like some course. He's not like some paid speaker guru or, to bring onto the podcast, whatever the case is. I mean, he'll be
right,
on this podcast, but like that's not, he doesn't own a podcast, right? He's not looking to build a personal brand. So like for someone like him, when he opens his mouth, it's because he intentionally means to deliver data, which that's the way his mind works. It's data.
right,
It's data. That is it. And so when he is communicating, all he's doing is just discussing data. Like that's literally it. A fact for a fact, no emotion. And it's because it went into his brain, and because it went to his brain, it came out of his mouth or his fingers, right? Like, but like,
right.
if he thinks it, he says it. And to your point, we're a firm believer about that inside of Uncaged. Like, you don't know what you don't know till you know it. And if I'm being honest, one of the best learning lessons I've ever gathered over the last 5, 6 years that I've really been focused on personal development, like truly like full bore, let's learn this, and paying attention to common denominators from people that I look up to and stuff like that, is there will always be a flow of knowledge. That data will always be being transferred. However, the definitive action on whether or not you're going to be able to receive that data, that flow of knowledge, that information is all in how you receive it. So to your point, I understand embarrassment. That's a very good term for the type of reaction or response that happens when you're like, fuck, I should have known that, bro. Like,
Right.
shit, you're right. I'm sorry. Um, however, like for example, I have this conversation with Heather a lot, is I've gotten to the point where like I appreciate being told I'm wrong, because I know in my head that gives me more of an opportunity to just become better, just to improve, right? And so if we have this mindset, it's like in sales, right? In sales, we get trained that every no is like that much closer to a yes, right? Like every time I get told no, like I don't want to purchase your products or services, that means I'm that much closer to a yes, right? Go for no. Whereas it's almost this, from a personal development standpoint, it's almost a very similar concept, because it's like every time I'm told I'm wrong, that's another opportunity for me to improve, to learn, and then ideally never make that same mistake again. Like, okay, cool, you got embarrassed. That's an emotional response. But now what? Now we don't ever have to be embarrassed about this again. So, yeah, man, I like the way you put that.
And that's the cool part about this is once you start to realize that you're going for learnings, right? The more you learn, the best salespeople I've realized are the people who are ignorance on fire. They will just take action, and pivot as they're taking action instead of those of us that want perfection. We want to do it right. We overanalyze. We aim, and never fire. And then it's like, dude, I could have talked to 15 people and molded my pitch to this instead of what I've been doing is calculating and programming and all of this instead of just like, you know what? Let's just throw shit on the wall and see what sticks and modify from there and get rid of this thought because I people are so scared of what other people think and people aren't thinking about you anyway. There's too much on their own plate. I'm thinking about myself. It's like I can't think about anybody else's failures because I'm so stuck on my own. Yeah, we're afraid of what other people are thinking about us. And it's like, there's not enough time in the day to think about somebody else. And if they're thinking about you, you're on a whole other level because people don't think down.
Mhm.
They
Yeah,
only think up.
agreed. And to your point, so that's something that we've learned a lot inside of Uncaged. Like we joke about how we're building the plane as we fly it. Because if we waited for a perfect opportunity, it would have never come, right? Like there's never a perfect opportunity to have the kid, to start the business, to make the move, whatever the case is. And so we jokingly, like the internal team jokes about building the plane as we fly it a lot because that's all we're doing is we are rolling out projects based on feedback. We then take that feedback and in some cases we'll do 3 series of tests. We'll do an alpha, a beta test, whatever the case. We will do multiple different tests, and each time we improve based on the feedback from the last test, whether it be 6 weeks or whatever the case is, and we grow from there. And the thing is I can't remember if it was the last episode or not that I talked about this on, but I was really drawn into an interview with Mr. Beast. And, this dude's got a YouTube channel worth over $1 billion. And it's funny because people like kind of comically point fun at it. He's like, bro, he just owns a YouTube channel. Like, what the fuck? It's not a real business. But like, if you start to pay attention to the largest commodity in the world is attention and eyeballs, and him being the largest streamer that is out there with the largest YouTube channel there is and the fastest growing, like there's a lot to learn, right? And so one of his biggest testaments to his success is the speed in which they move. And because if something, they will literally be sitting in a fucking meeting and they will decide that we're going to move forward on a project. By the time the meeting is over, the project has already began. They've already started. They have let their team know. Their team, while they are in the meeting, are already acquiring what they need to. They are following their SOPs. They are going through the process. The shit's already been done. And so for me, that's something that I've been very much focused on implementing myself, but then also educating on is, to your point, is like, hurry up and fail. And it's almost falling in love with the idea that if you know that one day you will be successful, like, if you don't ever quit, you will achieve your dreams. And if we can really fall in love with that, if we can like close our eyes and imagine, what does this dream life look like? Where are we living? What house are we living in? What kind of cars do we drive? What kind of vacations do we go on? Did we retire our parents? What kind of 501(c)(3)s are we either donating towards or did we build? Like, what's our family structure look like? What's our organization structure look like? Are we working in our business, on our business? Are we investors? Like, what are we doing? And if you can conceptualize the fact that you can achieve that, if you take the proper action, complete the proper steps, and put in the fucking work to do so, to make it a reality. So now we know that this is now achievable because we're not going to stop till we get there. Then we start to say, well, what is holding us back from getting there? It's probably the lessons that we need to learn along the journey, right? So we know that a lot of those lessons are dressed up and described as failures to society. Now we can say, well, if all we got to do is learn these lessons, and these lessons are hidden inside of failures, and there is literally a certain number, there is X amount of failures that have to happen from where we are to where we want to go. Why would I not want to hurry up and fail as quickly as possible? Why would I not want to go to one failure, learn that lesson, apply it, learn the next lesson, apply it, learn the next lesson, apply it, and go from where we are to where we want to go essentially quicker. So I think that concept's like very, very eye-opening.
And let's just take the failure out of it and just say I'm just learning new lessons every day. Because let's be honest, it's not a failure, it's just feedback of how it didn't work. There is That's why I love this presupposition of there's no such thing as failure. It's just feedback. It's learning step by step on how to do it. With a kid, it's not failing. I didn't fail to walk. I just learned how to do it wrong. I just need to do this. I just need to do this. I just need to take it here because it's those words that really I love how when you think about it, the reason why we're spelling out the words is because we're actually casting spells on ourselves by the words that we use. When someone says they're going to try, I already know they're not going to succeed. Because the minute you say, I'm going to try, well, you've given up hope of success because if you try to pick up a pen and you pick it up, you didn't try, you did it.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of us say, I'm going to try this. No, give it your full effort. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to put forth everything that I have. And our words concentrate our focus to get us the result. And yeah, dreaming of what you're going to do is really great. One of the things that I would add to that is what purpose am I fulfilling with the direction I'm going that will energize me to take the action? What is my purpose behind this? Because stuff is great, vacations are awesome, but feeling that deep purpose as a man of I am accomplishing this to create a legacy for my kids to look up to me weighs more than the vacations that I'm going to take or the houses I'm going to live in. It's that I am an example to my posterity to be that 1% a day to take action. It's not what
No,
I say, it's what I do.
I 100% agree with that. And also too, and I'm glad we're having this conversation, and especially for people that study like NLP and stuff. It's always a fun conversation to have because depending on who you are as a person, right? Some being more polarizing and, so like even just like internal talk, internal dialogue, right? Like
Mhm.
quit being a bitch, bro, and go lift the weights or whatever the case is. It always comes up with like colorful conversations, but then also like one of the big things inside of Uncaged is talking about like terminology and understanding the mission, right? Because,
Mhm.
for me, and I talk about this pretty openly, like until we decide geographically to move or maybe economy changes or whatever, I know essentially that my house that I want, my dream house, is going to cost about $3.5 million. A, because of where it's located. B, because of the size of it with different assets that I want inside of it. And
Mhm.
when we start to break all that down, it's not because I want to say I have a $3.5 million house. I could care less. That's just my way of describing it because from a data standpoint, that's what it's going to cost me. That dollar amount becomes a KPI target for me to hit that I can't buy that house until I have enough, value to be able to purchase it. But some of that is like, okay, cool. I want a home. I love entertaining. I want a home where we can invite a bunch of the members of Uncaged over. We can enjoy it together. I want a home that, when my daughter's old enough that all her friends want to come to that house. I want to protect the environment that she's in. I want to make sure that I provide her everything that she needs to be her own independent person while also being safe. There's a lot of things that go into it. Same thing with the vacations, right? Like I love the rest and reset that gives my family. My family, devotes a lot of time and attention for us to be able to build Uncaged the way that we do. And these are great opportunities for us to reap some of the rewards for the hard work. But even so, like from a educational standpoint, like some of my best memories of like my daughter learning how to act in different cultures comes from being out of the country and her learning how to interact with people that maybe don't speak her own language or look differently than her or live in homes with dirt floors, and her interacting as an equal without seeing any bias or anything of the sort. So it's always really cool because when we have these conversations, I agree with you 100%. Like it's about why. Because at the end of the day, when we see these people give up on things, right? Like, oh, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do this. It's because there's not enough conviction in their fucking soul to actually succeed. And the reason is because they haven't bought in. You know, you'll see these guys over and over and over again be like, man, I got to apologize to y'all. I failed here. I did this, or I didn't do this when I said I was, whatever. It's because they don't care enough. Like they clearly don't care enough. So to your point, if it was like, oh, I just want to buy a $3.5 million house, fuck yeah, I'll fail. Because I don't care enough about having just a three, but it's the everything that comes from it. And it's like the psychological.
When you like when you get to the point, it's not money you want, it's what you can do with that money. Because if I said I can give you $1 billion, but it's stuck in a cube and you can't access it, but you have it, is that what you want? No, it's what I can do with it. It's the feeling, the conviction, the drive to I am creating this because it gives me this result that lifts my life up to be the most elite version of myself, the best version of myself, the person that I'm supposed to be. And the thing that I realize is people will spend more time planning their vacation than they'll plan their future.
I can see that.
And you cannot reverse engineer without a desired goal. And one thing I've learned with like Elon Musk, he's moving at quantum speeds.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is he's got a goal so big that the universe is compelled to make quantum leaps, show him different things to get to that goal. We will move as fast as our furthest goal. And most of us plan for the weekend. So the week is slow, and then the weekend disappears because we're planning for that next weekend. But if you have this big, badass Mount Everest goal that you can go, you know what, this is where I'm going, and then you install it in your timeline, right? Allow your unconscious to reverse engineer it because it's analyzing 1,000,000 bits per second, while consciously we're only analyzing 27. The green lights, the flow state come from, I have this intention. All right, well, I'm going to show you. You take a left here, and then we follow that, right? We act on it. Like Staller, you have no filter. It's like the 5 second rule. If you think that you need to contact somebody, you got to do it within 5 seconds or you miss your opportunity. Mm. The reason being is the universe has prepared that opportunity for you. They're waiting to hear from you. You have to take the action within that.
No, man, I agree. And I think a lot of that too, like, because I agree, two things that are like been really instilled into me is one was like a quote from Rob Dyrdek on a podcast. And honestly, I don't even think he meant it to be as like impactful as it was. Like it hit me like a ton of bricks. And who knows? I don't, maybe it's his quote, maybe he got it from someone else, but regardless, he said that the more specific you can be about something, the more successful you will be at it. And honestly, I should probably study that a little bit more. I did try and figure out if he was the first to coin it, and there's like really nothing that attributes that to him. I think he literally just fucking said it in conversation, and that was it. And like, and I'm over here like wanting more out of this. Like, I'm like, this is incredible, But there has to be some sort of psychology, and I'm gonna say this, and then we'll come back to it because I want to finish this thought. It's similar to like Parkinson's law. Like Parkinson's law is like, whatever time constraint we put on something, we will adapt to that time frame. So if we want to get something done quicker, we adapt the time frame and we will. But to your point, there's like an opposite psychological uh, phenomenon, if you will, on delayed gratification as well, right? And so maybe this is like a quality versus quantity type. Like, how do we increase quality and quantity at the same time? We have decreased delayed gratification. So the further we put the gratification out, while also trying to hit these specific targets in quantum time, we become pretty powerful. But regardless, um, that's why, as far as like dreams, anytime I personally try to do something, because also it's something that I hit the members in Uncaged on pretty heavily, is get more specific, bro. Get more specific. Get fucking more specific. You know what I mean? And it's even gotten to the point, for example, like my wife and I will drive down the road and find the exact house we want. May not be in the exact location, but then it's like, okay, cool. How do we go find the exact location? Or whatever the case is, like places to live. We have moved now a few times since we've gotten very, very serious on what our dream life looks like. And it's because we're looking for that place that we can be very specific on. Now, to your point, it's like we're moving quickly too, though. Like, if it's not, we're at a point in our life where if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no, right?
Mhm.
So, like, if it's not pushing us towards this monumental goal that we are extremely specific about, because now we have also decreased timelines, we are trying to move quicker because if we put our first sprint is what we call it sprints, and we put our first sprint a fucking year out because of Parkinson's law, it'll take us a year to get there. So we're like, how can we do it in half the time? We still have the delayed um, gratification, but how can we move quicker? Because now we have specific targets to hit on this timeline that now is our realistically for us it's a 20 I mean pardon me a 10-year goal. We have
Nice.
other goals that are set out further than that, but as far as like this real push that we're in with multiple sprints, it's a 10-year goal for us.
Right. Well, and it's not about delaying the gratification. It's just having a goal so big that your unconscious never stops running. That's what I'm talking about with this. Is it's got to be something so massive, like colonizing Mars. All of these other things that are huge accomplishments have to happen before then. So it's just condensing that, but giving something further out that it's like, oh, I got to run so freaking fast. I have to give you 10, 20-year breaks just so that we're able to accomplish it in that lifetime that we've set. So, yes, just have something massive that your dream is. The second that I've talked to you a little bit about is a lot of times we say, what would I tell my 20-year-old self? And that's bullshit. Why would you talk to your 20-year-old self that you're never going to be again? What if instead I talk to my 90-year-old self who's achieved everything I've wanted and ask them how they did it?
Mm.
If I'm going to have a conversation, I want to have a conversation that moves me forward instead of reminisces on, well, if I had this, well, you don't. And until they develop time machines to go back to who you were, the best option I have now is have my 90-year-old self tell me what I can do today to get to that legacy dream, to be in that $3.5 million home that shifts lives,
Mm.
that changes the whole construct of how I live and how I bring up my prodigy, right? My lineage and continue this legacy of awesomeness.
I agree with that 100%, and that's actually been something that we've been making decisions on uh
Mm.
as of late, is truly understanding. And it's always a difficult conversation at the time, because typically you will be faced with something that does have some sort of delayed gratification or long-term compounding growth that doesn't give you the immediate validation that you're searching for typically. And the answer is usually black and white. Like, it's usually right there. You already know it. And it's funny because, in Uncaged, I say this a lot, is like, if you come, let's use Staller for an example. You go to Staller because you want a response that Staller is going to give you. You're looking just for further validation, because if you wanted to hear something that gave you permission to be a little bitch or to take the easy way out or whatever, you would go to someone that would give you that response. You would go to a yes man. So a lot of times, to your point, if we were going to have the conversation between, let's say there was three of us sitting at a table, us now, the 20-year-old us, and the 90-year-old us. We're going to ask the 90-year-old us stuff just for further validation on shit we already know is the truth. Whereas
Hmm.
if we want the excuse or want to feel qualified for taking the easy way out, of course we're going to ask the 20-year-old. The 20-year-old was still a partier. The 20-year-old still wasn't that mature. He still wanted to reap some of the rewards immediately. So I definitely agree with that.
Right. It's like, I'm going to tell my 20-year-old self, do this instead. Well, I already didn't do that. So what's that?
Right.
I mean, if you're going to teach your kids, sure, that I get. But a lot of this is, what would I tell myself? It doesn't matter, because
And so,
like
like,
I
this would be
can't
an
do
interesting conversation to have with someone with yourself. Like, what do you tell people that are constantly dealing with regret or what ifs? Because the way I look at things, of course, if I knew what I knew now when I was 20,
that.
we would be in a completely different world, right? Life would look so much differently. But I am such in a state of my life right now where I'm so thankful for where we are and the life that we have that I thank God for everything that happened between where I was when I was born and where I am today. So I'm thankful for where we're at.
But here's the thing: is I learned this from Tony Robbins. Is most of the time when we look back on something with regret or whatever, we look at all the negative that's associated with it. We don't look at the duality of it, the strength that we got from that, the power that we got from that, the decision making that we got from that. The toughest experiences were the biggest moments of growth for us. But we want to blame that situation and stay stuck. But if we say, you know what, I'm never going to go through that again, think of the growth that comes with that, saying, I'm not going to put up with that ever again. The learnings associated with that, the power that comes with that, the decision making and the confidence that that can build. The people who have had the hardest experiences also have the highest trajectory of growth, because with the lowest of the lows come the highest of the highs. The people that struggle the most are the ones that are fair to middling, right? The ones who haven't been challenged, that just are on assistance, that don't have to take accountability for their actions, that don't have to do anything other than just subsist, just be. What kind
Yeah.
of life is that?
No, and I can see that too for sure. Like, it's like kind of the thing like growing up, I look back at some of the people that I used to be jealous of, like in high school, that always got the brand new cars when they turned 16 or this or that, or their family always had money. So they were always able to go to the movie theaters and do all the things. Whereas that wasn't my life, right? Like I had to earn everything that I had and earn everything that I did. And there were a lot of obstacles that came up and a lot of hardships that I had to overcome. And then like you fast forward to now and you look at, the life that I'm currently living versus some of them. And let me just say that it's a completely different lifestyle. And I wouldn't trade places with them, right? Whereas maybe back in high
Right?
school, I was jealous and maybe I would have thought I wanted to. But also part of what you mentioned too is when we start to now listen, I'm not going to name any names because like I don't want this to be like I'm shitting on anyone, but I'm not an advocate that like you have to intentionally make your life hard. Like I'm not one of those
No,
people.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
But there are some out there that do preach that, and I'm not an advocate for that. However, I do look at some things as like the frame of the veteran, right? Like we experience obstacles, we experience challenges, we go through them, and at first they fucking suck. At first we're not happy about it, but then we go through it again, and it's not that the challenge itself becomes any easier. It's that we become stronger. The frame of the veteran being like, okay, say you move to Dallas and you're like, cool, I want to go run to this place that's, 10 miles down the road. Maybe it's work. You're like, all right, cool. I bought a house 10 miles away. Like my commute's going to be 10 minutes every morning. Well, surprise, motherfucker, Dallas traffic, it's going to take you 45 minutes to an hour. So the first day you're going to work, you're fucking pissed, bro. You're late. You show up, 30, 45 minutes late. You're mad. You're angry at everyone that you drive by. A week later, you're still pissed. You're not happy about it, but you're not as pissed as you were the first day, not as anxious and stressed. 6 months go by and it's just a way of life. You wake up 30 minutes earlier, you leave 30 minutes earlier. You know that it's going to be like that. Now you understand that to drive anywhere in Dallas, it's going to be 30, 45 minutes to go 10 miles, whatever the case is, depending on the time of day. Yeah, obviously. But now it's the same pain point. It's the same amount of time in traffic, but you yourself are now conditioned and trained on this that you are a veteran at this situation and therefore it doesn't bother you as much. I mean, it's the same thing. I remember the first cold day that I experienced after my motorcycle wreck. I opened the front door, that cold air hit me and it dropped me to my knees. I went back to the bedroom and I didn't get out of bed for the rest of the day. Like the chronic pain, it just crushed me. I still experience that same level of pain. I just now understand that that is the life that I live and it's something that what am I going to do? Just live in the bed? No. So I think that's definitely some interesting points there as well.
Yeah. Well, here's what I love is I don't have to experience things as long as I learn the lessons. The whole objective is to learn the lessons from it. That's why I love studying books, podcasts, case studies of people. NLP is literally the study of excellence and how to replicate it. If one person can do it, anyone can. That's the whole mindset behind it is as long as I can think the same way, do the same strategies, follow the behaviors, I can accomplish X, whatever X is. But a lot of times our models, we choose moderate to okay models like my mom's cookies are the best. They may be fantastic, right? But they're not Mrs. Fields. They're not the ones that are selling commercially and have $1 million, $1 billion franchise behind it. But we want to model it because we are connected to that person instead of going, is this the best model that I can do? For goal X, do I want someone that I know or do I want the best of the best?
Mm.
And one of the things that like Tony Robbins and Tad James, they went into the military to change their training program, right? To model the experts. At the time, the pass rate for the marksman was 70% and sniper was 10%, the top level, right? It took them 2 weeks to get through the whole process. At the time when they started, Tony Robbins almost blew his foot off because he didn't know how to use a rifle. And they went and modeled the best of the best snipers, how they breathed, what their thought process was when they were doing it, how they had their body position, all of the mental framework that went with it. At the end of the study, they were able to drop the training course from 2 weeks to 5 days. So they dropped ammo usage over 50%. They increased the marksman passing to 100%, as long as you followed the behaviors and the things. Tony went in and actually passed as a sniper just by modeling the behaviors of the best of the best. Because if you think about it, if we could get Stoller's drive, just how he thinks in his drive, and apply it to us, how much further along the process would that take us?
But it's interesting that you say that because, and I know we're nitpicking terminology here, but just for the people that are listening in the sake of this conversation, it's not Stoller's drive that makes him great. It's his discipline.
Well,
He
consistency.
doesn't, he doesn't want anything more than any worse or better than any of us do. He's just more disciplined at it, which comes down to some of the things that you were talking about, training with some of these snipers, is it's their discipline to do the things that they know that they need to do in order to be successful. That a sniper is one of the most disciplined people that is in the U.S. military, especially the special forces. Depending on what special forces teams you're involved with, it's either a group effort or it's an individual effort. And there's some really wild trainings that these snipers go through that would blow a lot of people's minds that they have to do in order to qualify to become ranked one of the most rewarding and sought after positions in our United States government. Discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, man, I think this has been really a great conversation. I've had a lot of fun with it. It's always fun having conversations with guys that, are conditioned on NLP and stuff like that. And I agree with a lot of the things that you said. I don't think that there's anything that I can't do if I don't want to. And so I always love having these conversations. But yeah, bro, like what can we do to pay you back for some of the time that you've given us here? Is there anything that you want to end on? I just want to make sure that we send these guys off with something really tangible and a strong takeaway to make sure that they themselves get rewarded for the time that they spent listening to us have this conversation today.
Let's give two rewards. First, let's just show them how to get rid of that bitch voice, that negative voice that holds people back. I've showed this to you a couple of times, and all it is you know what that bitch voice sounds like. What if, when you hear it, you make it sound like Joe Biden? Take its power away. We have the power to shift how our inner voice sounds. We are the authors of our trajectory. Focus on what works. Stop focusing on, well, what if I fail? Well, what if you succeed? If you're going to spend your energy focusing on something, focus on winning. Put all your eggs in the, I'm going to crush this and I'm going to overcome, because you've overcome every single obstacle up to this point. Everything. You have crushed it. The second is anyone that sees this and has reached the end here, reach out to me and I will help. You have one thing. You have to have written your eulogy. You have to have gone through the 30-day and what is your dream? What is your goal? And I'll help you install it in your future timeline and allow your unconscious to reverse engineer it. That's my gift to the guys in Uncaged, because I think that once you see what you need to do, you'll be able to take the actions. Because you're in Uncaged, you've taken action, you're doing the work. Sometimes you just need a little bit of guidance. Let's let your unconscious give you those epiphanies so that you can take those actions.
I love it, bro. How do they find you, Wiley?
I'm in the group, and then I'm rebuilding my page. So skiptherapy.com is where I'll have a landing page where you can book some time. But reach out to me, just ping me on Messenger, and I'm more than happy to help out anybody.
Awesome, man. I love it. Wiley McArthur, everybody. I appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you spent here. And man, if you ever need anything from us, we're always here for you. So thank you so much.